Hello, I'm Jess, and today I'm going to share with you my top tips for teaching A-level chemistry as an NQT. I taught both Year 12 and Year 13 in my NQT year, and while it was challenging, I learnt a lot in the process. So the advice I'm sharing today is based on reflections of my first year of teaching A-level. We're going to start with two things I wish I had put more time aside to do before starting teaching. My number one tip is to read around the subject and read your section of the course before you start teaching it. I fell into the trap of only reading for the lesson that I was about to teach, and this meant that I didn't have a very clear picture of where the course was going and what the students needed to know at the end of the course. In hindsight, I would have benefited from reading the whole of the organic chemistry unit before I started teaching it. My second piece of advice is to create concept maps for the topics that you'll be teaching. This will help you to identify curriculum links and will give you a clearer overview of the course. While these can be time intensive, the process is worthwhile, and if you make them neat enough, they can be shared with your students too. Tip number 3 is to make friends with the chemistry lab technician. If your practical skills are a little rusty, like mine were as an NQT, it's a good idea to practice the practicals outside of lesson time. Practicing means that you'll be more confident demonstrating the skills to the students, and you'll feel more comfortable supervising them carrying out the lab work independently. Tip number 4 is to use the exam specification as a guide for your planning and teaching. As a newly qualified teacher, using the spec offered me reassurance that I was covering the right content, and I used it as a checklist to make sure that I was teaching the students everything that they needed to know. Later, I also found that the spec was a great place to start when concept mapping. My final tip is not to be too hard on yourself. Teaching A-level chemistry can feel like a lot of pressure, and I've learnt that it's normal not to teach it like an expert the first time around. You'll develop and refine your teaching over time, so don't compare yourself to teachers that have been doing this for years. Make sure you enjoy your A-level teaching as much as possible. It's a privilege to teach a subject you're passionate about to students that love it, so make sure you have some fun with it. I hope that you found some of this advice helpful. Thank you for listening.